Hello and welcome to my review of the Dark Angels full new releases range. Now this goes all the way back 4 years ago really to Lazarus, and then last year we also had Azrael and Lionel Johnson. And then this year we've had the Deathwing Assault box set. You probably just finished watching the Deathwing Assault box set review, which was yesterday. So I hope you enjoy this one. Now you are looking at £135 for the Deathwing Assault there, £27.50 for Azrael, £27.50 for Lazarus, £26 for Asmodai, £35 for the Inner Circle, and last but not least, £42.50 for Lionel Johnson. So you're looking at about £300 worth of Dark Angels there. We'll go through all of the units and I'll pick out sort of my favourite. It's a tough one. My favourite model out of all of these is of course Lionel Johnson. I think it's a fantastic model. It's such an improvement over Rabute Guilliman in terms of a Primarch model. I wish that the Lion would be a bit bigger, you know, considering that the Horus Heresy one is quite big. I'll just do that comparison right now while we're here. If we just go straight into a size comparison, because we can. If we just look at the Lionel Johnson on here, the Horus Heresy one, it just seems like he is bigger. It might be the pose and things, but the armor plates, definitely the shoulder pauldrons, the sword as well is a little bit longer. Obviously there's way more detail and things on the resin mini, but still both good looking models. Obviously with the Horus Heresy one you get this ridiculously cool base covered in Night Lords that are getting absolutely terminated. Not that long ago I did give you a review of my entire sort of Dark Angel specific units for Horus Heresy. Of course I've got lots and lots of tanks and super heavies and things for the Force, so if you just type in, you know, Dark Angels Horus Heresy collection review or something into YouTube, you'll probably find my army there. In terms of crossovers, yeah, none of these units would make it and cross over to the sort of 30k Horus Heresy Force. Yeah, Lionel Johnson, absolutely fantastic model right there. He was tough to get hold of. I hope Games Workshop have finally learned their lesson, but I doubt it. They never do they? It took about 3 separate releases you know, for people to be able to get him separately and not be sold out and not be you know, scalped and things. Absolutely lovely looking miniature, absolutely fantastic, everything you could hope for. And you know, you get a number of options for his head as well. I think there's like 4 different options: helmeted, helmetless, with the helmet on and the hood, or just with the hood. So you know, he with the hood and the helmet, he really does look like Doctor Doom, and the Cynic base is quite nice too. Same size base as Guilliman. So yeah, we had to wait a while to get him in the end, but Dark Angels really did kick off their new releases 4 years ago, when there was the big kind of Primaris Lieutenant craze. There still is. You know, the Games Workshop still make a lot of Primaris Lieutenants, and this is in fact Dark Angels Lazarus from 4 years ago. I'm not sure why I didn't go for him holding his you know, winged helmet with the sword. In hindsight, I think that looks cooler than what I eventually settled on, which is just a bolt gun and a power fist and the normal helmet. I really had to dig deep in my collection to try and find him, because it just doesn't stand out at all, other than the you know, big sort of winged sword on his power plant. But yeah, I had to kind of look twice to see if this was actually Lazarus, and it is. But just with the power fist configuration. I think sort of 4 years ago there weren't many Primaris that came with power fists and things, so that's probably the reason why I picked him. But and I didn't want to really fully commit to Dark Angels back then. Didn't have a Dark Angels Force really, and so I thought, okay, well, I'll just turn him into this generic Primaris captain. But yeah, you know, in hindsight, I wish I'd kept with the power sword and the winged helmet, because it would have, you know, worked with this force better now. So that was Lazarus. And then, of course, last year, about 10 months ago, almost a year now, Azrael came out. He crossed the Rubicon and looks absolutely fantastic. Very, very cool mini, this one. Lovely sword, got the winged helmet. You know, the Watcher in the Dark can either carry his winged helmet or carry the sheath, the scabbard. You've got a bit of a sort of Dark Angels, I think, helmet there. He's got his combi plasma, which is a bit of a theme in this army, definitely. Plasma and combi plasmas. Absolutely lovely model. I couldn't really upgrade that if I wanted to, unless I gave him a sort of better base. But now that I've found him, I'm going to keep him close with these Dark Angels. Lovely mini. And then, similar sort of time as Lazarus, I think, we had this. I don't know why I've included him, but I have, because he is a Dark Angels Primaris Lieutenant. He's got his plasma pistol, he's got his power sword, he's got a number of Dark Angels icons and things. I'm not sure how long he was available and whether you can still pick him up, but I wondered whether to get him, and eventually I did. So he came out similar time to Lazarus. Keeping on the sort of character theme, I picked up the Terminator Captain, or Captain in Terminator armor, the multi-part kit, and I gave him the Dark Angels helmet from the upgrade sprue that you can get from the Deathwing Assault, and separately now, and I gave him a combi plasma as well. So yeah, nice use of the combi plasma with the Deathwing helmet there, and yeah, just an extra Terminator if I wanted to put him in the Deathwing units. Makes a bit of a change. And speaking of which, yes, and then we had the release of the Deathwing Assault. It all kicked off with you know, these new Deathwing Knights and Belial. Absolutely fantastic miniature. Lovely upgrade to him. Yeah, with the Stormbolter, nice base, power sword with the hood, you know, Master of the Deathwing. Really works well with the rest of the Deathwing Knights. I think I said his praises enough in the review of the Deathwing Assault box set, but these Knights as well, you know, hard time choosing which are my favourites, either the Indomitus Terminator armour or these, which are, yeah, sort of a modification of it, a knight modification. And I really like the helmets. I think Games Workshop are on the money with those, especially if they decide to, you know, Primarisify the Grey Knights and things. But lovely, and I'm not going to hesitate picking up a second set of these and equip them with the maces to really fill out. Yes, I know that's a lot, sort of 20 Terminators in a Dark Angels force, but hey, you know, if any chapter can have them, it's definitely going to be them. And speaking of which, with the Deathwing, we also had you know, the upgrade sprue for the Terminators, and in there included, you know, as I've shown you on the Terminator Captain, the helmet with the winged sword, these little shield things, the shoulder pauldrons for the Terminators, little icons and things, and the awesome looking sort of Dark Angels power sword as well. Not only that, is the set included the plasma cannon upgrades. So yes, you can have your Dark Angels Terminators with plasma cannons too. Fantastic upgrade sprue. The only thing I would say, as I said in the review of the Deathwing Assault, is I probably would have included 2 sets of the Deathwing Knights in there instead of just the one, and then just had one Terminator set, because maybe, just maybe, people still have some Terminators lying around from the Leviathan box set. I'm not sure. I probably would have built them by now, but anyway, of course I've then built the second unit there. Slightly different in the fact that I haven't given them chainswords, but again, plenty of options with the poses for those. After the Deathwing Assault, closely followed by that, was the release of Asmodai. We'll stick with the characters. Asmodai, lovely mini. I went for the smoke effect and the hood in the end, which I'm pleased with, because I was going to go for the hood without the smoke, and just works. You know, not many of the Dark Angels have smoke or smoke effects and things, and yeah, I'm pleased I did go for this in the end, because it sort of, you know, gives him like a bit of mystery and things. I wonder if Cypher will get an upgrade, will get a Primaris upgrade, who knows, because at the moment he's a little bit small, isn't he? Another fantastic character miniature. And of course, at the same time, we had the release of the Inner Circle. Yeah, probably the weakest out of the whole of the new releases, but still good. People were shocked that you only got 3, but if you look back, you know, far back actually, to, well, I'd say almost 4 years ago. We're not that far from 4 years ago that Bladeguard Veterans were released. It will have been 3 years since the individual box set was released, and they were released for £31.50. They've only really gone up by £3.50 in 3 years, so that's not too bad. But yeah, people were a bit shocked that you only got 3 of them in there, and I was too, because like some of the promotional pictures and things kind of made them look out like they were a unit of 5, maybe a unit of 6, and I would have preferred them as a unit of 5 or even 6, but as it stands, they're kind of like Bladeguard Veterans in a way, but without the shields, and the swords are a bit better, but yeah, you're really going to have to put these in transports and things to make them survivable, or at least give them a character to buff them, not like the Bladeguard Veterans, which can just like stomp around by themselves. But lovely miniatures, even though the prices are similar to Bladeguard Veterans. You get 2 options per model, the weakest one being the one kind of swinging the sword, which is a bit ironic. You know, the one action pose, and it's not, and it's the weakest one in my opinion. You've either got the sword like this, or the sword slightly more vertical, and then you've got this one holding the sword upright. There is actually in one of the newer sets from, not Leviathan, but last year, one of the company command, I think it is, or chapter command, they are in a very, very similar pose, like the company champion, to this one. So, but yeah, that's the Inner Circle. Bit pricey. You only ever really need 2 boxes of those if you're gonna max them out, bit like Bladeguard, possibly. And then of course, you know, we can't really talk about the new releases and things without talking about that Dark Angels Codex supplement. I was a bit apprehensive about that. I thought it would be about, you know, 50-60 pages, wouldn't be that fleshed out, a bit like the Black Templars one, that wasn't very long, but this one's almost 100 pages, guys, so there's a lot in there. It's just a shame some of the other units weren't upgraded. Yes, we got a new unit in the form of the Inner Circle, and the rest are kind of all upgrades. And technically Lionel Johnson is a new unit in terms of this, but I would have liked to have seen maybe 1 or 2 more units, or even refreshes for the Raven Wing specifically. But that Codex is great, and it does the best that it can with, you know, the miniatures of the range. Hopefully we'll get some upgrades and things in the non too distant future. I can't really believe that we've been given you know, newer Deathwing Terminators before a bigger Terminator Assault Squad box set. That's crazy. But in summary, I think it's a great release. Not many sort of new miniatures in the range, but definitely the upgrades that they have created have been fantastic. And I look forward to seeing more, especially in the other chapter. Hopefully we'll get some Imperial Fists, some more White Scars, some Raven Guard needs some love. And of course, let's not forget Chaos. Fulgrim has had his new resin miniature. Would love to see some brand new Noise Marines, with the same care and attention as Death Guard got, rather than World Eaters. What do you guys think of the whole of the Dark Angels new releases? Which is your favourite mini and unit out of the new range? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.